Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about what I had in my chemo bag. So I knew that my chemo treatments would be at least 4 hours long, and I like to be prepared for things. I didn't really know what to expect at first. I knew chemo probably wasn't going to be a very pleasant experience, so I at least wanted to be able to have things with me that would make the time go by a little bit quicker, but also if I needed anything, I wanted it to be kind of with me. So I always felt really good the first couple days before chemo because I was on steroids for 3 days and I was like a crazy person. They gave me so much energy. I would like scrub my house, pack my bag. Like, it was actually a good thing because I knew I'd be down for the count for 2 to 3 weeks. So my treatments were always very early in the morning. Whoever went with me would have to pick me up very early, anywhere between 6:45 and 7 o'clock in the morning. So the first thing I always left with was a very large mug of coffee. I also had a really hard time sleeping, mostly from the steroids right before, but also just the anticipation of it all, knowing it was going to be a long day. I was typically up most of the night before, so I always made, I would have a cup of coffee as I got ready, and then 2 cups would fit in here as well. So I always left with this. They did have a Dunkin' Donuts at Roswell. They're not my favorite though, and they never made it right. Even if I did get coffee there half the time, Eric and I would just throw it out. So I always made my own just to kind of have, not that I needed to be awake, but I wanted to feel somewhat like a normal person. So as far as the bag that I used, I had this Vera Bradley bag, and it's pretty big. But I chose this one because it's washable really easily. So I knew it'd be sitting on the floor. If it got dirty, you know, Lord only knows what's going to happen there. I wanted something, I didn't want to take like a really good bag with me. Like my Neverfull that I always use, they're just not that easy to clean. So this worked out really well. It is, I mean, really, it's a really nice size, and it's got a pocket inside. So, sorry, I don't know what they're barking at. The window's open. Anyways, so in here, I really always had the same things with me. After my first treatment is when I really found what I needed or what I didn't, and just kind of trial and error. So I'm hoping my trial and error will help you or someone that you know just get it right on the first time. So I always wore really comfortable clothes there. Just again, knowing I'd be there all day. I didn't ever wear jeans. I usually wore leggings, yoga pants, workout pants, and just a comfortable like workout shirt, just something, or a flowy top. The first time that I had gone, I wore a workout top that went really close to my neck. But the problem with that is to get to my port, they couldn't get in, so I had to like lift up my shirt. It was kind of a mess. So I wore a shirt with a neckline like this, so I could just pull it over. They could tap it. The bandage was pretty big that they put on it, like the tape to keep it all sealed. So it was just easy and it was out of the way. I also always layered because the hospital was typically always really cold. So I would take a jacket with me, a North Face jacket, or, you know, a sweatshirt, whatever. And then for shoes, I typically always wore sneakers just to keep my feet warm. They were easy to walk in. It wasn't, you know, sandals were definitely an easier choice, but if my feet are cold, then I'm cold, and it was easier with sneakers. So, as far as my bag goes, what I had in there, I always took, well, the first time we went, I always had, like socks with me, and just like really thick, nice, cozy socks, because when I was sitting in a chair, like at the chemo chair, which it does recline, I was sometimes in that chair for 6 hours. I mean, typically I was. So, and you can like get up and move if you have to use the restroom or whatever. So the very first time I had these on, I took my sneakers off, put these on, and I walked to the restroom, and I don't know why I didn't realize this, but the restrooms were unisex. So when I walked in there in my socks, there was urine all over the floor. So not a great idea. So I learned very quickly that this was not suitable to walk into the restroom with, which probably isn't anyways, but after they gave me that Benadryl, nothing really made sense to me anyways. So I still kept a pair of like really fuzzy socks with me just to keep my feet warm. If I was sitting Indian style on the chair or whatever, I don't like sitting like that with actual shoes on. So those I always had with me. But then what I did start taking with me also was a pair of sandals. And I would keep whatever shoes I had in a separate bag. And they're just little thong sandals that were super easy to clean. Excuse me, they have rubber on the bottom, so if there was water or something else on the floor, you didn't slip. But then also for the bag, I didn't want to just throw sandals that I had worn in the restroom into the bag with all of those other things. So at least this bag I can wash. It was just easy to keep them separate from everything else. I always took a bottle of water with me. So I would always, I'm just thirsty. And it's not like they didn't have water or pop or whatever there. They had, like I said, a Dunkin' Donuts there, and it was really the only thing they had there at the time as far as food goes besides the cafeteria. But I wanted to make sure I had enough for just the day. And then, what else? Everything's just kind of a mess in here. So another thing I took with me the first time, well, I always took a book with me, but when they start giving you all of these drugs before like your pre-treatments, as soon as they would give me Benadryl, I could not focus on anything. It was literally like I was drunk. It just didn't work. So I want to say I took this book with me the first time, and Eric bought it for me. It sounds really awful, but it's called How Not to Die. And basically it's just foods that help prevent and reverse disease. And there's a very specific chapter on breast cancer specifically. So I had the best of intentions to read when I went there because I'd be there for so long, but I couldn't focus. It was just not happening. So the very first time I think I did, because my grandma went with me, but it only lasted a little bit. It didn't work too well. I did also always have my iPad with me, which I'm using to record on. Just again, and these, like the book and the iPad were more so when I was waiting. I always had someone with me, either a friend or my grandma went with me the first time. So most of the time we were just chatting anyways. So it's not like I really needed those things, but just in case I wanted to putz around, or when I fell asleep, if someone wanted to go on the iPad or whatever, they had the ability to do that. So that worked out really well. The other thing as far as like devices go, obviously I always had my phone with me, but for when you're sitting there for hours and hours, your devices can run out of battery. So I did always have a backup battery for my phone. I would always make sure that I would charge it the night before. But then I also had, the cord to plug it in. And then I also brought an outlet one as well, just in case this was not malfunctioning, or it was malfunctioning or just dead. So those, and I still take these with me everywhere just because I use them. My little cancer book. So I would always, again, I wrote in here every single day, like not only the meds that I took, how I was feeling, what my temperature was, what my weight was, and then I left all my appointments in there as well. So this way I just had it with me. If there was any questions I had for the doctor, I would write it in there so that I wouldn't forget, because you think about a lot of things, in 3 weeks when you're not there. So this I just recommend everyone should do, whether it's just for chemo or not. Again, even 4 years later, for me to be able to do all these videos, if I didn't have this, I wouldn't remember half the stuff. So that always helped me. My wallet, of course, with my members only card. So, and I meant to show this in, no, where is it? I was just there yesterday. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. I was just there. Oh, here it is, buried. So when you first register at Roswell, they give you, I call it the members only card, and it's their green card, and you need this for everything. Like yesterday I had to go to phlebotomy, and you have to have that. The phlebotomist checks it when you go to register at the clinic. They look at it. So I never took a whole wallet with me or a whole purse with me. I would just take my wallet with, you know, a few dollars in there, always my credit card, insurance card, my green card, the normal things that I knew that I would need. You do have to pay for parking there, which they do take credit cards, but it was just easy to have a couple bucks on me because I typically don't ever. I did also take wet ones or like antibacterial wipes with me. Just again, I know that they have like their own sanitary wipes, but I just was really weird about this when I was sick. I was very nervous about getting sick. So I had that, and then I would typically have 1 or 2 types of hand sanitizers. So the gel sanitizers I don't love. So I bought this when I was first diagnosed. It's by the Honest Company, and I think I got this at the in the baby section at Target, and it smells like lavender. So it's got a really nice smell to it. It's not like as pungent as like normal hand sanitizer. And I bought a few bottles of these, and I just left them everywhere. So this I still use a lot. This I have just because I still have it. And then I always brought a little thing of Kleenex with me because I would get horrendous bloody noses. Like, I mean, for the first 40 minutes I was up, my nose was just gushing. So I always had this with me. I still always have a pack of Kleenex in my purse. So those worked. When they would flush my port at first, and I got this tip from my aunt, I would get, and it wasn't even any drugs that they put through, it was just like the saline flush. I would get this weird, awful taste in my mouth. It was like straight alcohol, but not, it was not good. So when they would flush it, I would always keep gum with me anyways, just because it's a long day there, and then coffee breath and whatever. So I would leave that there. Or I bought those Lifesaver, like the white Lifesavers, which I don't love those, but I figured whatever, that's what she told me to buy, so I did. So that I had. I would always also have snacks. So I would always take a couple Kind bars with me. Oh, my banana fell apart. And a banana. Just because they're easy to eat and I can throw it away really easy. It's not like, you know, an orange that makes a whole mess. So, I don't know what happened here. But I'd always take a little snack with me. And then, what else do we have? After you are diagnosed with breast cancer, you can no longer use antiperspirant. You cannot use anything with aluminum, which there's a ton of studies that show that using antiperspirant is actually linked to breast cancer as well. So right when I was diagnosed, I had changed deodorant. I had tried Tom's first. It's no good. It just I don't like it at all. So I found this, and this is the first one I've used. I no longer use it, but I still had it. We found it on Shark Tank. It's called PiperWai, and I really like this because it's activated charcoal. They make it in a jar like this where you use your finger to like scoop it out. It's a little hard now because I've had this for a while. So you scoop it out and put it on, and it smells like eucalyptus. It's actually and I don't love eucalyptus, but I like it for this. They also make this in a stick too. So it is all natural, aluminum free, gender neutral. It doesn't matter, you know, who uses it. It's just got a nice clean scent to it. So I did use this, and I did really like it at first. After a few months, I didn't feel that it worked as well. But I always took this with me. Just again, it was a very long day, and then I typically get hot and cold and hot and cold. So just in case. My car key, of course. Not that I needed it because I never drove, but just in case. I don't know why I took my car keys actually. I also would take a little like toner spray. This is one that I used all throughout chemo, and then also like when I would have surgeries. It just has a really nice, again, like eucalyptus smell, just to like freshen you up and make you feel. Hospitals just don't make you feel that great. I feel so. This just made me feel a little bit better. Probably totally unnecessary, but that's what I had. Always chapstick. I don't leave anywhere without chapstick. So this one I really liked. It's Sugar Advanced Therapy by Fresh. I like a lot of their products, and it's like this really nice lemony flavor. So that one I used a lot. I always had a pen with me just because my book, I guess. I always have pens with me. A hand lotion, just hospitals are dry, use hand sanitizer. I always have lotion with me as well, typically. And then a couple other things that I used. I started to become pretty big in essential oils when I found out, just to kind of help naturally. So I have a bottle of lavender oil with me just to help kind of calm me, relax me, and it's just a nice scent to have. But then also, if I did get a nosebleed, I know I don't say this right. I call it Helichrysum. It's probably not even close, but that's the name of it. It's one of the most expensive ones, and it's in like this is only a 5 milliliter bottle. This one's 15, I think. Yeah. So this one, and Eric uses it too when his sinuses get really dry. If you get a bloody nose or any type of like bloody situation, like when I would get a bloody nose, I would just put a little bit of it on my nose and it stops the bleeding relatively quickly. I didn't start using this until later on because that's when I found it. And it was like, I want to say $70 for this bottle. It was a lot. I couldn't really justify it until I knew that that's what it was used for. So that I did wind up taking with me as well. And then the last thing that I have in my bag is my bag of pills. I literally, throughout my whole journey, even months after, did not leave home without this. It stayed in my purse. I also took it with me, even though they gave me anything that I needed while I was there. I literally did not live without this. So a lot of these, I need to get rid of these because there's way too much stuff in here that should not even be in this house anymore. It's insanity. Muscle relaxers, narcotic pain pills. It's just insane the amount of drugs that you get. And this is not even all of them. Like, I've thrown out probably 3 times as much of this, but I literally never went anywhere without this. Any sort of symptom that I would have, whether it was nausea, not being able to go to the bathroom, going too much, like, there is a pill for everything in this bag. So heartburn, it's crazy. So this, I don't even know where I got this bag. I want to say this black bag I got at Roswell, but it's perfect for all of this. So I need to get rid of all of these, but this never left the house, or I never left the house without it. So that's really it. I went over my little list that I made to try to make sure that I remembered everything. But that's really everything. Anything that I needed, that I was there. And they always had like snacks and stuff and crackers and pop, ginger ale, whatever. But again, I'm the type of person that likes to be prepared. Oh, the one thing that I did not have in this bag, a friend of mine had made me out of like a fleece blanket. Like, you can go to a craft store and just buy like fleece material. She called it a lap blanket. And what it was, and I used to make these blankets all the time when I was younger, but you would cut the ends of it all the way around and then you knot it. And it was super cute. It was brown on one side and then pink on the other with like brown polka dots, I think. But if you're sitting in like the chemo chair, like the little recliner, it was the perfect size to cover up your lap. So that worked really well. They obviously had blankets at the hospital, but they're awful. They're scratchy. I hate the way that they feel. They were good when they'd bring them to you like out of the warmer, but I hate the way that they feel. So that little blanket was awesome. I'm pretty sure the dogs took that over because that's really what happens with all the blankets in my house. They always become the dog's blankets. So that's really everything that I can remember. I hope that this video helped someone, anyone. Again, I like being prepared, and I hope that my trial and error will benefit for you in some way, shape, or form. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.